Consistent with the national security and foreign policy interests of the United States and the interests of justice, Guantanamo will be closed no later than 1 year from now.
President Obama promised to close Guantanamo Bay by January 22nd, 2010. He's admitted he'll miss the deadline. But even when he does finally close down the prison, what happens when the detainees return home?
We came out to a world that was completely strange to us. Things have changed. We had to understand and know about our own families. Some people died, deaths. It was a complete new map.
Omar Derais was arrested in Pakistan in 2002 and held in Guantanamo Bay until 2007 when he was released without charge. A child refugee from Libya, he had only British residency, not citizenship, when he was detained. He petitioned the Home Office for 1 year before his residency was reinstated. His brother Abu Bakr was instrumental in campaigning for his release, and at home with his wife and children, where Omar now lives, he still faces a hostile public.
Yeah, as you can see, this glass was attacked, or this window was attacked. 11 o'clock at night, Friday night. My car was attacked also Friday prior to this window. We've been victimized for over a year, and the police have not, prosecuted anybody.
And what the experience we were subjected to have changed our personality inside, that we do not relate normally to people emotionally, and we became so cold, I think, emotionally, and we don't trust people anymore. To some people, they might say he is, they might accuse you of being cold, they might think you are selfish, you don't care about others. They don't realize what really goes deep inside you.
Mazen Beg, a British citizen, was also arrested in Pakistan in 2002 and held in Guantanamo. He was released without charge in January 2005.
I consider myself a little bit privileged in the way that I've been dealt with, in the way that my family has been supportive, in the way that I've had physical family around and community members, and my father being somebody who was well known in the community prior to that. But let me tell you, there are people who've returned from Guantanamo Bay who found it impossible to get a job, impossible to get into education, impossible to try to put themselves in a position where they can be of some use to people, have been unable to even get married, where society and individuals have said that right, it's fine, he was terribly tortured and so forth, but we wouldn't like him as our son-in-law. And these are real problems that people have faced, continue to face, and there is no way out of it. I have had counselling since I've returned, and the counselling that I've had suggests that I suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. Waking up in the middle of the night screaming, pacing 3 steps forward, 3 steps back in a way that I would never normally do before, but that is because of the that's how you take a walk in Guantanamo. You walk 3 steps forward and 3 steps back inside your cell. There is no social support structure at all for us. It was simply we pick up the pieces wherever they were broken from first.
While Beg returned home to his family, Derais still waits for permission for his son to visit Britain.
Yeah, my son, I haven't seen my son for a long time. Since he was born, I left him and he was 6 years or 6 months of age. I haven't seen him yet. Now he's probably 7 to 8 years old. So yeah, it's got one of those sad consequences of our imprisonment. Yeah.
And your wife?
Well, my wife, that's another story. I'll leave that to another time. That's another story.
We talk about Guantanamo in a sense as returnees, as if it's a piece of history. But for some people it isn't. Just before I came here, I was speaking to the mother of a child who's not seen his father ever in his life. And I talk of Shaka Armour, who's been in Guantanamo since 2002, and it is now 2010.
For the sake of British resident Shaka Armour, detained without charge or trial for nearly 8 years, we must continue to demand that Guantanamo must close.
But people are concerned that he's a security risk.
People are concerned that I'm a security risk. People are concerned that everybody's been returned from Guantanamo as a security risk. Innocence and guilt, I believe, is something that's determined in a court of law, not in a court of public opinion and not in an interview like this or any other interview. As the Quranic verse says, that if you have any proof, bring it forward and let us deal with it.
I can't, as I say, I can't please everyone. What I can do is my own life, my living, and my daily life will prove who I am and what I have done. I haven't been accused of anything before, nor have I been convicted of any crime.
Guantanamo will never be over. It'll be a place that will be remembered in the history of the Muslim collective history and in the history of the United States in general. So you can't forget. You forget at your peril, you forget at the expense of others. And you can't do that. What do you do when a child comes along and says to you, "Where's my dad?"